What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 87 of Lured Up, the podcast where we take Pokemon Go way more seriously than we do ourselves. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network. Today is Sunday, July 14th.
Guess what it is?
It's my birthday today.
Your birthday.
It's my birthday today.
Ken's birthday.
I'm like 20.
He's
I'm 23.
birthday.
I'm 23 years old today. I'm not 23.
No, you're old.
I'm old
You're
as
way
shit.
older.
I'm 42 today.
It's not that old.
It's old.
You're spring
In the
chicken.
Pokemon Go world, that's like 150. Anyway, today's Sunday, July 14th, 2019. I'm your host, Ken Pescator, joined by my co-hosts, Melissa Pescator and Adam Tuttle. Hi, friends.
Hey.
Hello.
We out here.
Hello.
And we are also not alone today. We have a guest. We are
Surprise.
joined, YouGuyz, by Hypnotic Milotic. What's going on, dude? How are you?
Hey.
I'm good.
You guys.
I'm great.
You guys.
I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy freaking birthday, dude.
Yeah, it's my birthday, man. Yeah, I'm not typically the it's my birthday, like beat the drum, my birthday weekend, my birthday month. Like, no, it's
Okay.
I'm not.
I am.
Melissa is.
And so I forced him to today.
Yeah. She's like, I don't care what you say. We're doing things. I have a plan,
And I executed said plan.
she did. She killed it. We woke up. We went out to breakfast. We went to New York City. We went to we went to Nintendo NYC.
Nice.
Bought some stuff. Got a little Ditto plushie.
Ooh, Ditto.
And,
So you didn't go with like the Scorbunny or one of the new starters. You went Ditto. Okay.
We went Ditto. They had they didn't have that much Pokemon stuff out, surprisingly. I think that the Sword and Shield stuff hadn't really hit too hard yet, as far as the merch is concerned.
Oh, I suppose.
They were still in like Mario Maker mode, so it was like Mario stuff everywhere as per usual. But I'm sure once Sword and Shield drops, it'll revert back to its Pokemon Center roots, because that used to be, Nintendo NYC used to be a Pokemon Center.
Yeah, I think that's why I've been there before, so I forget. Yeah, Nintendo has other franchises other than Pokemon.
Yeah.
Wait, they do?
Well, what's cool is the actual doors to the building itself, the door handles are in the shape of Pokeballs, and that's like the only thing that is retained from it being a Pokemon Center. So like as you're leaving the store, the door handles like close in the shape of a Pokeball. It's really cool. It's like a little Easter egg. But everything else is fully changed over with Mario and Link and Nintendo shit everywhere. But that place is awesome. It was hot as hell in there. It was packed.
It was like 10 million degrees inside. And I'm not exaggerating. It was literally 10 million.
10 million degrees.
A million.
Million degrees.
Little housekeeping really quick. This podcast is powered by Patreon. Please check ours out over at patreon.com/Pokemon Professor, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. And that $1 will get you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people.
Oh, it sure is.
And I want to give a huge shout-out to our show supporter tier patrons: Brittany, Jay, Matt, M. Pitts, Terry, David, Chris, Sydney, Bacon, Elvin, Noise, Harry, Pokey, Navbot, Purple Pancakes, Dem Gears Be Bangin', Lady Goobly Meat, Super Nerd, Fox, Go Ranger, Matt, Reversal, The Phoenix, Baker Boy, Jolt Switch, and Alex.
Wow.
I did it.
Look at all those friends.
I know, lots of friends. Thank you guys so very much, and a huge shout out to our executive producer, Paul Bott, and our Elite Four patron, Jessica Pfeiffer. Thank you guys so incredibly much.
guys rock.
We appreciate you so very much.
best of the best.
Friday Night Fights is still going on in our Discord. We're just about wrapped up. We're in our last round of our Jungle Cup for the month. So if you guys want to get involved with some remote PvP, you can check out our Patreon, get signed up with the Discord. We fast track you up to Ultra Friends. And we duke it out every week. So it's been a lot of fun. I did much better than I thought, since I don't power shit up and I just pick stuff. So I haven't done too bad, but it's been a lot of fun. So if you want to get involved with that, make sure you check out our Patreon. All right, on today's show, we're gonna get to know.
Yeah, I'm losing pretty hard.
Adam doesn't report his wins and losses.
Way to go, Adam.
It's like he holds everybody up, and then they got to tag me, and they're like, "Yo, can you please tell Adam to report his wins and losses, please?" And I'm like,
Adam.
"I could just do it."
I'm sorry, guys.
All right, on today's show, we're gonna get to know Hypnotic Milotic. A lot of PvP stuff to talk about today. PvP was updated. It was like the first kind of major iteration on PvP. The community was outraged. Go figure. But get this. They handled it exceptionally well and maturely, and Niantic responded. It was amazing. We'll talk about that, how that went down. I did host a PvP roundtable this past weekend on YouTube, doing it with a live stream, and I want to talk about that because some really cool topics were brought up. There was also a moveset update that affects PvP as well as PvE, so we'll kind of talk about how this has affected PvE. Candela's rewards have been going on for about a week. By the time you hear this podcast, they'll be wrapping up, but we'll kind of get caught up with all that, including Entei Day, which was today, and then we'll wrap up with a Scyther solo raid guide and battle party. All right, let's dig into this. Hypnotic Milotic. I know it's melodic, but it rhymes, so Hypnotic Milotic. How are you, man? Why don't you introduce yourself and let our community know what you're all about?
All right, fantastic. Well, yeah, so I am the one and only Hypnotic Milotic. It was actually that I do, just for the record, so everyone's aware, I don't need any more tweets or replies on Twitter letting me know that I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. I'm fully aware in the anime it's Milotic. And to be fair, I always used to say Milotic until one day, one of my friends who happened to be battling me in one of the core Pokemon games, he was high as a kite. We were just chilling out at his house one night playing some Battle Revolution a long time ago. And, you know, my signature move that my Milotic always has is Hypnosis. And I swept his entire team, and I'll just never forget it. He looked me like dead into my soul with that stare that it looked like he was about to say something so serious. And I was like, "What's up, dude?" And he was like, "Your Milotic is so hypnotic." And from that moment, my gamer tag, it was born. That was it. So potato, it's no big deal. We've got bigger things to worry about and fight about and bicker about on Twitter than whether or not I'm pronouncing the Pokemon's name correctly.
That's brilliant, though. That's such a good story. Like, bro, your melodic is so hypnotic.
It is. It's perfect.
That's so great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. But why don't you talk about like your brand and what you do, man? You're a pretty consistent and steady streamer, and I think that's super intriguing because we don't get an opportunity to talk to too many streamers on this show. So how does that work out for you? Kind of living on Twitch.
Well, it's kind of a new. It's weird to say this, but it's a new like lifestyle for me. This was all born a long time ago. At least the ideas in my head was born a long time ago when Pokemon Go first came out, right? So picture this. Good old Hypnotic is in downtown Minneapolis. That's where I lived, like right in the heart of downtown when the game came out. So there was just massive groups of people everywhere on every street corner. And I was super into the core games, and I'm very into the breeding and the battling and the IVs and the EVs and all the complex things that go into making battle-ready Pokemon. So Niantic hits us with this CP system. I'm like, what the hell is CP? I'm like, combat power. I'm like, I just want to know, what are the stats of these Pokemon? Where are the IVs even in the game? Right. So now I'm walking around with these mobs of zombies that are just like, oh man, I got a Pikachu. And I'm like, yeah, but like, are the IVs in the game? Has anyone figured this out yet? Like, what's the situation? And I'm telling you, I shit you not, people all the time, they'd be like, shut up, nobody cares. And I'm like, okay, maybe you're right? Just evolve the one that's the highest CP. And then I don't know whether it was 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month later, whenever it was, people started figuring out, the articles started coming out that, there are IVs in the game and this is how you can figure them out and all that. And then suddenly that's all anybody would talk about. They're like, I need my hundo. I need a hundo. I need 15 attack. And it's like, oh, wow, good old Hypnotic. He was onto something, wasn't he? Holy shit. So I realized really quickly there's a huge disconnect between like people like me who have always, like, Pokemon was never dead. Like, it was always alive to me. And all of these new people, just by what seemed like the millions who were playing Pokemon Go. And I'm like, I can try to tie these two things together and help people understand the things that they don't know. So my Twitter account was born. I made it shortly after Pokemon Go came out. And at the time, we all knew that the Switch was coming. It was on the horizon. It was just a few months out, the following year. And I was like, man, they're going to give us a core Pokemon game. This is the perfect time for me to finally start, doing this. I'm like, we're going to get a core Pokemon game. That's what I love to death. And then I'm already super into Pokemon Go. I love Pokemon Go just as much. Just because I'm a core gamer doesn't mean that I can't be into Pokemon Go too. So that was kind of the role I filled in my local communities, was helping people understand, I guess just the things that they didn't know. They're like, what the hell is this Pokemon? Why are the stats this way? What's going on? So that's why I started my Twitter account in the first place. But then fast forward, it took a couple years for me to finally be able to start making content in streaming because they never gave us a core game for the Switch. And that's really what I was waiting for. The process of trying to stream gameplay from a Nintendo DS is just ridiculous. And I didn't feel like mailing my DS to London to have
I was going to
somebody
say,
mod it.
and expensive and very expensive.
Yeah. So for like 2 years, all I did was exist on Twitter, and I chatted with people, and I've tried to be as positive as possible. It doesn't always work, but 99% of the time I'm positive. And just trying to help the two communities kind of like tie together and understand what's going on, and how the lore kind of plays into Pokemon Go. That just recently during Slack Off Community Day, we were in a group and some girl was having a meltdown when she realized that her Slackings would only get yawn. And I was like, it's okay. She was like on an expletive like laden rant in the summer sun. And I'm like, look, there's a reason. And it's because of the actual Pokemon games. If anybody's ever played them, let's rewind. And I explained it to her. And suddenly she was like, oh, I never knew that. I'm like, there we go. That's always
all is right in the world.
Yeah,
now.
right. That's been my goal, to exist and help just, the Pogo players of the world come back to the franchise and not just be instantly frustrated by things that they don't understand.
Well, that's really great, man, because it's, we talk about a lot on this show how, the three of us here have long histories with the game or the franchise, but kind of in different areas. Like Melissa was huge on the anime, huge on merchandise. When the franchise first came, we were both playing the card game. We both had the Game Boy games and stuff. But Adam was someone that was hardcore into the TCG. Mm-hmm. I was kind of all over the place. I started with the TCG. And, when you have all these different areas of Pokemon fandom, and then you have something like Pokemon Go, which has really kind of revolutionized awareness, it is a difficult thing to get people to kind of understand the big picture of how Pokemon works and how everything kind of ties together. So it's really cool what you're doing, because it's not too often where these communities collide in a way that makes sense for people. People will either have a long-standing history with the franchise or really just know about Pokemon Go. So that's really cool. And when I seen some of your streams, what I would notice is you're jumping back and forth between games. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is freaking brilliant, because you're going from a core game, then you're jumping over to Pokemon Go, then you're jumping back to the core game. And I'm like, this is the best of both worlds. It's fantastic. And I don't know if anyone else is really doing that. So kudos to you, man, because that's an awesome kind of putting your flag on the moon kind of thing. Like, hey, we're doing it all here. And, I think that speaks volumes to, the mission that you're on, like you're saying, to kind of, bring these communities together. Yeah, it's super cool, man. It's awesome. Awesome.
And you never run out of content.
That's true. But I appreciate you like calling that out and giving me some props for that, because it's funny, I'm not going to like name any names or call anybody out, but the Sylph Road after party was so much fun at GoFest this past year. It was awesome to actually run into you, and kind of get to chat with you for a second and all that. But what was crazy, so I guess you never really know who's paying attention, especially in the digital realm. Just because they're not interacting with you doesn't mean they're not necessarily paying attention or seeing things that you put out there onto the interwebs. But I had some conversations with webs, yeah. I had some conversations with some creators who just, I haven't been doing this very long, just a few months, right? That I've really been trying to take this seriously. And I had some conversations with people who have much larger followings and channels than I do. And, I just kind of laid it out to them. I'm like, look, the Pokemon company is obviously, very obviously, especially when you look at Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, they're trying to tie these two massive player bases together, because Pokemon Go still has just enormous player base, right? So Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee shows up, and all of a sudden we've got a catch circle. Like we're catching Pokemon just like it's Go, I'm like, they're clearly trying to tie the two together. And Sword and Shield is on the horizon, and I mean, for the love, they're throwing huge premier balls at raid bosses. Like it's just another element of Pokemon Go that is woven its way into a core title. So I just, while I was conversing with them, I was like, my plan is to make everybody feel welcome, and try to do the same thing. Like if the Pokemon company is trying to tie these two player bases together, then I should roll with it, because I feel like I could get, subscribers, followers, from both directions, because I really do think that the Pogo player base is going to be interested in Sword and Shield. I remember when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was announced, and Twitter lit up with people like, I'm not buying a Switch. I'm not buying a Switch for that. I don't care. I don't care. And then as soon as the game came out, there was just Twitter was flooded with people who were like, look at my Switch. Look at my Switch. I just bought a Switch. Like, in the end, Nintendo always wins. Just roll with it, people.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And jumping ahead on my little notepad here, I'm wondering what the integration for Pogo is going to be with Sword and Shield, because they haven't really alluded to that outside of the stuff like you said, like raiding and raid bosses and premier balls and all that kind of stuff, where there's obvious visual connections, but I wonder what's going to happen. Like, I wonder what the actual connection is going to be, because I know plenty of people, and I'm guilty as hell of this, that played Let's Go, got to Fuchsia City, got to Go Park, and like, man, that game, I
had no interest in it. And I love all the other games. Like, I really do, but I really had no interest in.
Well, you played through X and Y, you played through Sun and Moon, and Let's Go was its own beast. I mean, it was its own thing, but it for me, it was, oh man, I want to get this here so I can get Meltan and I can have go interaction and all this stuff. And then once I got there, it was like, oh shit, man, I haven't turned it on. So it was definitely weird for the core Pogo player to go back to Let's Go consistently once they reached Fuchsia City and were able to get to the Go Park. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that the integration with Sword and Shield has a little bit more depth than just kind of this kind of window shopping style one facet thing like Let's Go had, because Sword and Shield looks so freaking good, man. Like, it's the hype I have for that game is very, very significant, much more than what I had for Let's Go. And I love the original games too, and I played the shit out of Pokemon Red.
I think they'll probably give us like another box, like they did Meltan.
Oh God!
Yeah,
why?
They'll probably do that, but they got to do more than that. It's got to be beyond that. It's got to have, there's got to be something else.
There has to be some more of a benefit to you interacting the two games together.
Yeah, well, I have some ideas about what they could do, but like you're right. When you look at like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, like I would call it almost like, this is going to sound weird, but hear me out. Basically, a successful failure. The success was, yes, they got tons and tons and tons of Pokemon Go players to spend $300 on a console and then $60 on a game, right? So from their standpoint, that's a success. But then,
hell yeah, that's a win.
Right, that's a win. But then, just like you were saying, plenty of my friends, actually, one of my friends, he works for Samsung. He's super into playing Pokemon Go with me, and as soon as he hit Fuchsia City, like he was like, "This is dumb." Like,
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
You're not wrong at all.
I haven't advanced.
I'm over it already. It's like, all right, cool. Next,
right? So as far as what they could do, so here's the where what the part that I'm really excited about for Sword and Shield is what nobody seems to be talking about, and when they do talk about it, they write it off and say it's useless. It's Pokemon Home, right? They unveiled this idea of they're going to have something called Pokemon Home, where you can transfer all of your Pokemon into. And now, to be clear, they did state that every single Pokemon can be sent there, but then only the ones that are in the Galar Dex can move from Pokemon Home into into your Sword and Shield game, right? So everybody, when they do talk about Pokemon Home, they're like, well, it's useless. If I can't have all my Pokemon, why does Pokemon Home exist? And that's because they're in the mindset, all they're thinking about is what they know from Pokemon Bank. They're like, all this is going to be is some sort of like piece of software that lets me store and move around my Pokemon. But there was, I don't remember which one it was, whether it was like the E3 thing or one of the other interviews I saw, but they did talk about, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Junichi Masuda said, we want to have a social aspect to Pokemon Home. And that's where I think things are going to get really creative. And I think once all the details about Pokemon Home comes out, that's when people are going to finally, for lack of a better way to put it, they're going to quit their bitching and go, oh, maybe there's something cool here.
Oh, I get
because
it.
I feel like there could be a gameplay aspect. Like Pokemon Home could be, a game on its own where, just imagine we've never really had a social aspect to any of the Pokemon games, right? You got to jump through hoops with friend codes and blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. when you're playing on like a Switch or a DS and all that. Pokemon Go definitely doesn't have an in-game social aspect other than you meeting people out and about. So imagine it being like a virtual hub, like a lobby. It's like a server. It's like, hey.
Oh, I love it where you and your friends Pokemon are like hanging out, roaming, and can interact with each other.
Yeah.
And then what I would love to see
I like
would be
it.
achievement system, almost like on like Xbox. It's like, do these tasks in Pokemon Go and do these tasks in Sword and Shield, and you get, you know, whatever, these items, this raid pass, this thing, whatever. You need to use both games to accomplish stuff within Pokemon Home, and you need to do it using the social aspect that they put together. That would be my pipe.
See, now that's
Yeah.
See, no, but that, you know what? That's what they should have did with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, because like there wasn't enough to it to really engage in both games.
Yeah. And well, they've already said that Home is going to have its own trading interface. So, you know, you're going to be able to bring your Pokemon in from previous games. You're going to be able to bring Pokemon in from Pokemon Go, and then from within Home. So you could leave your Switch at home, you know, leave your Pokemon Go account at home. Obviously, it's on a phone. You're also going to be able to get Home on the Switch too. But you have Home open. I have Home open. We can then trade Pokemon just within Home.
Right.
We don't have to open Pokemon Go. We don't have to open Sword and Shield or any of the previous games. So we know you're going to be able to trade within the game. So right out of the gate, we know that there's going to be some kind of social aspect with friend connections. You know, whether they're going to have some kind of friends list, or they're going to be doing something more like Pokemon Go where you'll have QR codes or something like that. But that's super intriguing, man, because if they have some kind of social thing where you're utilizing the outside games to influence rewards that you get within Home, yeah, that breeds new life to Home and gives you more of a reason than just a storage PC, you know, of putting your Pokemon there. There's actual reason. And we're just, without poking a bear here, where do you stand on like the whole Save the National Dex thing? Like this, you know, where are you in that conversation?
All right, before we go down this rabbit hole, let me be clear to everybody listening to the sound of Hypnotic's voice. You guys, listen, I want all my Pokemon, right? I do. I want every single one of them, but it doesn't do us any good to badger them constantly on every tweet that they make with some ridiculous hashtag, because they know that we want them too. They know, trust me, you're not reminding anybody by incessantly tweeting at them. They're fully aware. But here's where I stand with it. So, you know, they were talking about in the E3 thing that was going on when Masuda finally revealed it. He finally gave us this information. I believe it was E3. If it wasn't E3, let me know if I'm wrong. Whatever.
No, it was during the tree. It was during the treehouse.
Cool. So at E3, you know, they dropped the bombshell on us, and all everybody is talking about is the animations, right? So it has apparently come out. I was looking at some tweets from like Sarah B and whatnot, that all of the Pokemon that are in Sword and Shield did have to build them from the ground up. They didn't just copy and paste animations, even though they look almost identical. They just made them look identical for consistency's sake, but they did build them from the ground up. And now I'm seeing these YouTube videos pop up that somehow end up in my recommended. So I've taken a peek or two, and it's people who are like, well, I'm an animation major and I know how to animate. And look, I animated a Wingull in 1 hour and it looks better than anything in any Pokemon game. I'm like, well, that's good. That's great. That's grand. That's wonderful. But what nobody is talking about is something that Masuda also did bring up during that treehouse. He said that it wasn't just animations, it's also balancing is a big problem. And when he said that, I was like, yes, thank you. Maybe they actually care. Because if you're like me and you have played Pokemon since Pokemon Blue was the thing to have on a Game Boy, you know, when I was a kid,
You started with Blue?
Blastoise, that's my homeboy. We had link cables and we battled, and you knew when you were battling your friends, like somewhere during this battle, there's a Blastoise, a Charizard, or a Venusaur that's coming at you, and it's going to be a problem, right? That was always a problem Pokemon to deal with. Now, fast forward however many decades it feels like we are later, like you've got like Gen 7, you've got Sun and Moon, and all of the Pokemon that have come through the generations along the way, the stat increases and the abilities and the held items and all of the stuff that has gone with it have just made older Pokemon useless. Like up until Gen 3 existed, Gyarados was always my favorite Pokemon. And I couldn't use him anymore. Until Mega Evolutions came along, he was useless. Like, he just wasn't strong enough to hang. So I feel like the Mega Evolutions was a way of taking some of the older, like the old starters and the Gyaradoses and the fan favorites and making them competitive again. But nobody's talking about balancing. When you have we've got 800 Pokemon in the universe right now. They're going to add probably 100 more. Now we're up to 900. How do you balance battles between 900 playable characters and not just have teams of like 6 that are like, what I don't want to see is, I don't want to go out on the Wi-Fi battle tower and see the same damn teams of 6 Pokemon over and over and over and over, because those are the 6 that always win. I want to see balance and creativity, and that's just an unbelievably exponentially large, daunting task to balance 900 playable characters. So I am perfectly cool with having 400 or 500 Pokemon in the Galar decks. Now we already know that, every single time they release a new game, there's eventually a second version of the game that comes. Just like Gold and Silver got Crystal and Diamond and Platinum, Diamond and Pearl got Platinum. We've got Pokemon Sword and Shield. Who knows? Maybe the next one will be Pokemon Gun. That's what we'll call it for this.
Yeah. That was the best
right?
meme.
Yeah, for this example. They can then fill in even more that we're missing, if they can continue the act of balancing and creating the animations. And my theory is this could get shot to shit, in a matter of a few months here. But on the remake cycle, the next remake, whenever it finally comes, is going to be Diamond and Pearl. That's where we're at. That's what we're waiting for. So I would not be surprised to see a lot of the Pokemon that are missing from Galar be Generation 4 Diamond and Pearl Pokemon that can then come, because I'm assuming that when we do get that remake, it'll run on this engine, which is a new generation. We're on Gen 8 and we'll be here for a few years. So that, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with only having a certain amount if it means that the gameplay is better because of it, that's where
nice. Well, no, that's great, man. I mean, I think that's that's probably the most well-rounded way to look at it, because there is way more to it than just animations. Like, the new thing I saw on Reddit today is everyone losing their mind that in the latest trailer where they show a Gigantamaxed Charizard doing a flamethrower, and the flamethrower doesn't align itself perfectly with Charizard's mouth. It kind of looks like it's coming out of his shoulder a little bit, and people are going frame by frame, and it's like, dude,
is that the new thing?
Like, yeah, man, it's like, come on. Yeah, I'll just go on Reddit. It's on the front page. It's like the second most upvoted thing right now.
That's what happens with nerds.
Yeah,
they get too
the
into
game.
details.
Yeah, they get caught in the weeds.
Trailers always say gameplay footage is not final. We're just giving you something to let you know we're not just sitting on our thumbs over here. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. It's actually pretty refreshing to have a little conversation about Pokemon outside of Go. Mm-hmm. Because we're always so Go focused on the show. So it's interesting, and again, who knows how the hell Go is going to be integrated, but I'm sure that they're going to have plenty of systems in place, and maybe home is the catalyst for all of that. Who knows? But I'm really excited about it to see how that all works out. So let me shift gears a little bit. I do want to talk about Go Fest. Yes, the Sylph Road party was amazing, but something that I saw you had tweeted at Go Fest, and I think this was on Saturday early afternoon, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see you post, you lost your camera. And when I saw that, I go, oh my God, my heart sunk. Of course, I retweeted it. Everyone was like, putting the APB out, but retell that story for me, because the way this has worked out is absolutely crazy. And it's kind of, mirrors a similar story that Melissa had from the previous year. So why don't you explain what happened to your camera at GoFest?
Well, you see, Coach, what happened was, so we were kind of, I was walking around with Ludo Clack and my girlfriend and a couple of friends that made the journey from Minneapolis to GoFest. And we were just having a stellar time. The shinies were flowing. We were having fun, right? And I am, it's even in like my Twitter bio, I am the most scatterbrained person in the world. If I don't set reminders in my phone and make lists in my phone, I will forget literally everything. So I'm hyped up. We're catching shinies. Things are crazy. We walked up to the Spooky Woods area, which was on the north side of the park. And that's when we met up with Pokegirl 7, who had kind of just arrived in Chicago. And she was like, hey, it wasn't her day to play, but she still kind of came into the park to meet some people. So Caitlin's just freaking awesome. I met her, at last year's Go Fest, and she's just been a sweetheart. She's an inspiration for me, and she's probably is my favorite YouTuber. Out of all of them, I have a lot of them that I love.
Shout out to PokeGirl7. Been trying to get her on the show. I want to get her on the show bad, so maybe you could help me. Help me move that along. I definitely want to get her on.
I'll chat with her. I'll poke with her, but I'll poke her or whatever. But no, she's just a freaking sweetheart. But regardless, so I met up with her. I hadn't seen her since last year's Go Fest. We're catching up. We're chatting. She traded me a Ghastly, which I was really excited about. And she even she put me on the spot. She's like, let me put you in my video. I'm like, okay, sure. I was like, holy cow. And that's one thing I never ask people to do. I don't want other people, I don't want to network with other people with the idea of them thinking I just want them to help me get views and followers and stuff like that. So I was just like, sure, if that's what you want to do, let's do it. So I'm all hyped up. She just stuck me in her video and I'm like, damn, I hope I didn't look like an idiot. And right after, we did the trade, was in that clip. And then literally the next thing that happened to me after that was I got a shiny Duskull. So now I'm just like, wow, I'm like, this day can't get any better. This is amazing. And I was in a mode where I was scatterbrained and not thinking about a damn thing. And I know what I did. I've been sliding my GoPro into my pocket all day long, just my front left pocket. And I guarantee you I went to slide it in there and just missed and didn't pay attention and dropped it. I guarantee you that's what happened. So then we walked away and then I realized I didn't have it, retraced my steps, couldn't find it. And I had literally just lost it and it wasn't at the north entrance Lost and Found. So I was like, well, it's not there. We're standing right next to the Lost and Found. I just lost it. That's the end of it. Cool. So I was in a crap mood for the rest, the next few hours. My friends are trying to cheer me up, especially Ludo. He's just like, come on, buddy, let's get some shinies. It's, we're at Ludo. He's just like, let's have fun. And I'm like, all right. Yep. So I'm walking around and I'm not being angry. I'm not cussing or anything, but I'm definitely not my same, hyper self. And when we made it all the way to the south, and this was a couple hours later, we were getting food and we were chilling down on the south entrance. And I was like, well, let me just check with the south Lost and Found, even though I lost it in the north. And apparently they had a computer system set up where both would talk to each other so they could see which items had been turned in. And they were like, yeah, somebody turned it in at the north. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because I had asked,
that's crazy.
Actually, I guess, so to underscore how amazing the Pokemon Go community is, and I don't know if this is what led to the person turning it in or if they were it just took them a while to walk to a Lost and Found. But I tracked down, I tweeted out that I lost it, but then, like I said, I never ask people to help me get visibility, but this was just one of those times where I was like, I want those memories back and I want that SD card back. So I walked up to Maddie F. Baby, who had been playing with me a little bit. And I was like, Maddie, can you please do me a favor? I was like, can you just retweet the tweet that I sent out? I normally wouldn't ask you to do stuff like this, but you have a pretty large Twitter following. I just want to get some visibility here. So he retweeted it and Omni and Dead Guy and all these people who were around were just like, hey, let's find this thing. And then it magically showed up. So
so awesome.
So awesome.
So great.
It's freaking cool.
Well, when stuff like that happens, you said it yourself. It's like, man, this fucking community is awesome. And, it's amazing to see that. And that's like what Melissa, I mean, you can retell that story from Go Fest 2018.
Yeah, I totally, after a couple drinks at the self party, I used the bathroom and I put my phone down, obviously, to use both hands. And completely forgot about it. And I mean, I don't even know how long it was until I realized that it was missing. It had to at least be half an hour.
It was at least 15 minutes, half an hour, at least.
Then when I finally realized, holy shit, it's gone. Then it was well, it's fucking somewhere in this building, maybe. And then I was like, oh my God, the bathroom. So I start running back towards the bathroom. And as I'm coming out of the bathroom, realizing it's not there, I'm fucked. That's it. It's gone. Ken is standing there holding my phone.
Someone turned it into the bar.
Someone turned it in to the bar.
It was this community is amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you saw it on the shelf and you were like,
and it was a new phone.
It was a brand new phone. That's right.
Galaxy.
It was so crazy. That's so wild, man. But I was so happy when I saw you at the self party and I knew, at that point I knew you had gotten it back. I go, dude, That's so crazy.
When I had heard that you got that back, I was just like, dude, that, yeah. I mean, like, I was surprised to get my fucking phone back.
Yeah.
Like, for you to get your GoPro back, like, your GoPro, bro, that's so dope.
And it's like there wasn't any, like, rogue, like, you know, someone turned it on for a minute, you know, and, like, moon the camera or something like that. You know, like,
if I found it, I would have.
I was really hoping. I was looking for it. It wasn't there. But.
I totally would have. I would have been like, see.
Hey, I love the videos. Here's my butt. And
no, I would have been like, you see this
now
face?
to the Lost and Found.
You better thank this face right here because I'm bringing it back to Lost and Found.
All right, we're going a little long. I do want to wrap up, but before we go, I want to talk about the hashtag YouGuyz because this is something that is
this a Goonies
it
thing?
has entered my vernacular because whenever I say it, even if I say it like outside of the Pokemon Go world and I just happen to say like you guys, I have to repeat it in your voice. Like it just happens. So explain the story of how this has started and kind of how this has taken off as kind of like your brand.
All right. Fair enough. Well, so I am, like we kind of said, I don't remember if we talked about this in the beginning of the show or not, but I went to school. I was a music major and I specifically went for music production, right? That's what I am at heart. That's what my degree is for, is producing audio, right? So I am a stickler. Whenever I record any sort of music, I always listen to it over and over and over in the car, and I'm always looking for ways to get better, and my streams are no different. So I have to drive around a considerable amount for my job, and when I do, a lot of times I'll throw on my most recent Twitch stream, and I'll just let it play through my Bluetooth system in the car in the background and just listen for whether it be technical things or just things about my personality, the way I addressed a comment in the chat or just whatever it is, I'll listen for things that I don't like and I want to level up. And as I was driving around, I realized I was like, every time I get excited about something or I'm talking to people, I kept saying it over and over. It's just like a tick. Like people say all the time. I was like, you guys. And then over time, like, I have this, like, I don't know what it is, but I go into this, like, when I get really excited about something, I do like a movie theater, like the movie trailer guy. I'm like, in a world, like I get really low. Like, I don't know why, but it started gravitating to you guys. And I would always say it. And I got mortified. I was like, I must sound like an idiot. Like, I got to stop doing that. It was one of those things where I was like, I need to level up and listen to myself, and I need to stop saying the same damn thing over and over. But then when I got home, I was putting together like a shiny reaction video, and I was making fun of myself, and I started popping that Phoebus up there on the screen every time I said you guys. And the intention was originally to self-deprecate, but the more and more I was editing and putting effort into the video, I realized that really is me. I'm like, why am I changing this? This is turning out to be kind of funny. I was like, when I'm streaming and I hear myself say you guys, I want this same Phoebus to pop up and make fun of me. So now I've got a little trigger set up on my iPad, and every time I say it, I just tap it. And it was just kind of, it was something organic. I didn't have to force it and be like, what's my hashtag? What's my brand? Like, how do I get people to know, hey, that's Hypnotic's thing. It was just like, it was organic. It grew out of nowhere. And I was like, no, I'm keeping it. You guys can't go. We're going to the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, you guys, like, this is freaking awesome. You guys listen up.
It's hilarious.
It's so good, dude. It's so funny, man. Like I saw it, I was just like, oh my god, this is it. And that was the thing. It was like your natural excitement. Like if there was a shiny or something happening, and it was just like you guys, like the real natural like heated excitement. I was just like, this is fucking hilarious. It's so good.
But that's what makes you human and relatable.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, I want to wrap things up. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Great conversations, man. You get me real hyped for a core series game, man. I'm really hyped on Sword and Shield. I cannot wait.
Sure.
But,
thanks. You guys. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be talk shop with talk shop about Pokemon with other people. I've got Kaylee here in the house. Kaylee plays Pokemon Go with me, but if I start talking to her about core games and breeding and battling and stuff, she just glosses over and she's like, "That's great. I had a good day at work."
Well, that's good.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much. Where can our community find you? And of course, I'll put all the links in the description so everyone can come check you out. But why don't you plug away? Let us know.
All right. Well, first and foremost, definitely track me down on Twitter. You can't miss it. Twitter.com/Hypnotic. Milotic. I'm always chatting on Twitter. Twitch is kind of like my main go-to. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 p.m. Central is when we do the streams. We like to keep it consistent. So that's just twitch.tv/Hypnotic Milotic. And then from there, when the streams end, like I said, definitely follow on Twitter, because when the streams end, my chat keeps going on Twitter. The chat never stops. So track me down there. And then last but not least, I'm trying to put some more effort into the YouTube channel. Same thing, youtube.com/Hypnotic Milotic. Got more as Sword and Shield gets closer, you'll see more and more videos popping out from me. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Thank you again so much for coming on the show. Everybody else, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk some PvP, talk about the week in Pokemon Go, Entei Day, and then wrap up with a Scyther raid guide and battle party. Thanks again, Hypnotic, and everyone else. We'll be back right after these words.
Hold up, everyone. Are you ready for a sing-along? Slowpoke in a reggae style. Pokemon. Come in. Slow. What your story is, Slowpoke.
And
Oh my God, really?
we're back from our break. Thank you guys so much for that. You guys. Thank you guys so much for that.
You guys
Hypnotic.
sound like Bugs Bunny when you do that.
I do.
We sound
Do
like
I sound like Bugs Bunny?
Onions.
What's up, Doc?
What's up?
Yeah, what's
Hypnotic
up, Doc?
Melodic. Thank you so much, man. Cool
He was
dude.
nice.
He knows his shit.
Yeah.
I always appreciate that. I can always appreciate that. And it's just cool hearing perspectives coming from people that have experience playing the main series games. And it's always pretty refreshing. So definitely make sure you check out his content, and his streams are cool, man. I really enjoy it because he'll bounce back and forth between Let's Go and Go, and it's like both games. It's just cool seeing him bounce back and forth. So very, very cool. All right. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to talk about all the stuff that went down in the PvP world over the past week. There was a bunch of weird mechanic changes. There was a community uprising. Niantic responded. There was a move rebalancing. There's also Candela's research that's going on right now, and then we'll cover a couple bits of miscellaneous news, and we do have a voicemail that we'll get into as well.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, tell me about this PvP change, because I thought I had a dream. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was watching a video, and YouTube just kind of like runs itself in the background on the Xbox if you fall asleep. And I forget what I was watching, but I had fallen asleep, and I remember waking up like sort of, and it was like PvP has ended, like that you can't switch out anymore. And I was like, what? That sounded like a dream.
Yes, well, it was a little bit of a dream. You were probably having a lucid dream, but this is what happened. So back on the 9th, right, there was a post that comes up on PokemonGoLive.com, and this is what it says. It says, quote, "In a continued effort to make trainer battles fun and competitive experience, switching Pokemon will now briefly pause the battle. This will grant you more time to choose which Pokemon to call out, and it will avoid Pokemon causing damage to each other while they are withdrawn into their Pokeballs. Charged attack gameplay will also be updated with new, fun swiping and tapping mechanics." End quote. All right. Doesn't sound too bad.
I like that swiping and tapping mechanics.
So that part was not implemented, had not been implemented, but this pause mechanic had been. So what would happen is you would go to switch a Pokemon, and the actions would actually stop. The gameplay would stop. And if you know anything about the competitive PvP scene right now, the time between switching mechanics when it comes to that over-tapping, under-tapping performance, if you're choosing your switch in and out during the charge move sequence, like there's a lot of like the real elite players, the strategy is happening during switches. So it kind of threw all that shit in the garbage. And the PvP world was like, whoa, what are you guys doing? You guys are catering, you're catering too much to the casual player, which understandably is something that Niantic would want to do because they're trying to get more casual people to play PvP. Understood. But the problem is the casual people are not playing PvP, and they're not vocal about playing PvP. So what ended up happening was the community was rallying together saying, this is crazy. That you're taking all of our strategy away, and you're dumbing down PvP to the point where you're losing us. You're going to end up losing all these core competitive players that have built these huge communities like Sylph Arena and Go Stadium, right? So Go Stadium puts together a live stream. They create the hashtag SavePVP, and they have this exceptionally successful live stream where they're bringing people in from the YouTube world, a bunch of content creators. Many of the globally ranked Sylph Arena players were in the stream, and they were kind of talking through all these changes. And in real time, they're putting up on the screen different ideas, what can be done, how they thought it should be handled, pretty much saying like what happened was a mistake, right? So 2 days later, Niantic responds, puts a tweet out, we've updated stuff. It links to their website. You go back to PokemonGoLive.com, and it says, and I quote, "In an effort to improve your competitive experience, the new switching Pokemon mechanic has been removed from trainer battles. We strive to make trainer battles intuitive and strategic, and we do not feel this change has met that bar. While the original implementation had unintended behavior, we've been impressed at the depth of gameplay created by real-time switching against incoming attacks. We still plan on fixing what we consider polish issues of Pokemon being able to attack and be attacked during switching animations. Moving forward, we also plan on more deliberately supporting the emergent strategy that has come from the old switching behavior," end quote.
That's dope.
Within 48 hours, they completely reverted their mechanics back to where they were, directly listening to the core PvP community. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
awesome.
No,
That's
Niantic's killing it with communication right now.
Amazing.
Or like listening.
Absolutely amazing. And I want to give a huge shout out to the guys at Go Stadium, because it's real easy to like do what the VGC community is doing with the Save the National Dex thing and just being,
bitch and complain.
Yeah.
It's one thing to bitch and complain, and it's another thing to go and take the time and the effort and put on a live stream and explain
Yeah.
why the issues are there. Why the players don't agree with the changes, and
offer solutions. That was the big thing. They said this is what it could be, and it was coming from the people that are out there on the front lines competing on the global scale. These were, globally ranked players saying, "Wait a second, no." These were people that run these huge tournaments. It was fucking awesome. It was so cool. It was so well put together. Shout to the Go Stadium guys. And Niantic responded. It's amazing. This is the type of transparency and fluidity of information from the community to the developer that we need. And because it was handled with such couth and handled with such, dignity and respect, Niantic responded. So freaking awesome. So as of right now, we know that Niantic is still developing, still working on PvP. They're going to still be, changing the way the mechanics of switching in and out, but they're still going to be retaining the strategies that we were worried about losing by pausing the battle. So it's very, very fucking cool. So we'll move away from that. If you want to hear more information on that, I hosted a PvP roundtable this past yesterday, with the guys from Go Stadium. I had Valor Ash, who is a globally ranked player. He was number 1, number 2. I had Atticus Nair, Jay Farmakis, Jimma Banks, great YouTube creators. I had BPL, Brampton Pokemon League, the guys that did our live stream of our tournament at the Maripup. Bunch of different creators on there. They call me Jake, that are on the front lines of PvP, and we got into it in detail. I'll put the link in the description if you want to hear it. But we talked about how this has kind of changed the way that the players need to think about PvP, and how the mechanics can develop over time and how it can be iterated over time. So I'll put that link, and we'll go into detail on that live stream. We won't do that here. All right. In addition to these PvP mechanics, they also changed some stuff with moves, and I'll run through this fairly quickly. What they did was they put together a bunch of new Pokemon that can learn new moves. So moves that were already in the game can now be learned by new Pokemon. Adam will go through that in a moment. And then also 2 new moves that we've seen in the code for a while: Charm, the fairy fast move, and Skull Bash, the normal charge move. The fairy fast move Charm: Raichu, Clefairy, Wigglytuff, Wobbuffet, Granbull, Donphan. Like a Gardevoir, Delcatty, Latias, Togekiss, Gallade. can all run double fairy moves now. Freaking awesome. Skull Bash, the normal charge move, it has a 100% chance to proc an increase in defense. Blastoise, Raichu, Lapras, Snorlax, Rhyperior. So now Snorlax can now have a move that's going to increase its defense. Awesome.
Ooh, it's
absolutely
gonna make
awesome.
them more relevant.
Yes, very, very, very cool. All right, Adam, why don't you run through a couple of the Pokemon here and some of the new moves that they can learn? And I think this is directly about providing a way to have deeper levels of coverage in PvP, because now you're seeing moves that are off type coming to different Pokemon. Any of these stand out to you?
So they're like the three that just like jump out immediately is Electivire with Ice Punch.
Yep.
Aggron with Smackdown.
Don't use it in raids.
Sceptile with Dragon Claw. And I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning Electrode with Foul Play.
Yeah.
Getting a dark move.
Yeah, you're getting these things that have significant levels of coverage. And I'll link to an article that Pokemon Go have put together where they talk about some of the notable stuff and how this can relate to PvE, because, you know, when it comes to moveset changes, people really stay focused on PvP, and rightfully so. But this stuff still does have an effect on PvE. So Moltres was and still is the best fire attacker in the game. If you run Fire Spin Overheat on Moltres, it's the best fire attacker. Now, if you have a legacy Moltres that has the charge move Sky Attack, now Moltres can learn Wing Attack as a fast move. So if you run a Wing Attack, Sky Attack Moltres, it's now the best flying type attacker. So you can have a Moltres as the best fire attacker and a Moltres as the best flyer in the game. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Gardevoir can now, like I said before, can have that double fairy moveset. Will make it absolutely amazing against Dark and Dragons. So you're going to see tons of dragon types in gyms. Now Gardevoir is going to be more relevant for that. Togekiss, which is probably going to be, you're going to start seeing this thing in gyms a ton now. Because if you run double fairy moves on a Togekiss, it's going to resist dark moves. People love using Tyranitar as to take down gyms, right? Now you're going to resist those dark moves, and it will double resist fighting and dragon. So,
which everybody has a lot of those. They just gave us the Jumpstart research with Dragonite, and everybody has multiple Machamps.
And Rayquaza, and people love using Rayquaza. So it's like now they're giving more relevance to defenders, which is awesome. This kind of started the conversation in my head of how there's exceptional depth in PvP, but it's not on the surface level. Like, you really have to dig in on a nerdy level to kind of understand what's going on with all that. PvE is starting to emerge here as well with depth, but you just have to really start understanding situational battles, typing, stab, weather, all these things that kind of don't jump out at you. If you really understand it, you're really going to be able to have an edge when it comes to PvE. All right, we'll move on from that. Very technical. Candela's research is going on right now. By the time you hear this, it'll be wrapping up, but we had triple catch XP, triple hatch XP, double raid XP, hour-long lucky eggs, and then today, Sunday the 14th, we had Entei Raid Day, 4 to 7 p.m. local time. Adam, how'd you do? Did you get to play?
I got to play the entire time. I hit 24 raids, which is huge for our area, which is humongous. I think somebody said something about us being elitist because we had exactly 20 in our group. I think that term got thrown around.
Oh my God. Did you drink caramel macchiatos while you...
No, we weren't that extra. But I had lucky eggs during the entire time. I hit all 24 of those raids. Out of those 24, I got one shiny.
Wow.
And one 100%.
Oh, nice. Shit. Nice.
I remember, awesome. Like, I just saw the 2480 and I go, don't move.
Oh, and boosted
I was riding with somebody, so I was like, do not move. And it was weather boosted. And I'm like, first throw, nope, didn't get it. Second throw, didn't get it. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I got this. I think I had 14 balls or something. And I'm just like, I'm trying. Every throw is either excellent or great. Curveball, golden raz. Oh, and then like the 8th ball, I finally hit it, and it just 3 shakes, and I'm like, yes,
that's awesome.
I was like,
that's really
home.
Good.
But clearly, I didn't.
Yeah, I was able to play. I played for 2 hours of the 3. We had a group of almost 40, which is too many because it's very hard to stay organized. We had, that's 40
1, 2,
people.
3, that's 20 too many.
we had like, it was something like over 20 something cars. So it was just crazy, to the point where if we were hitting clusters of gyms that had like a shared parking lot, we had to split the groups up. Like, you park over here, we park over here. So it kind of slowed us down. But it was we were very effective at what we were doing. We were able to knock these knock the battles out really quick because we had so many. So I ended up doing 14 in the 2 hours, ended with 2 shinies, which are awesome. No 100% or anything like that. But did 14, caught all 14 and got 2 shinies. So that was really exciting.
Now, question. Did you notice any raids beforehand that were like ongoing, or were all gyms just completely wiped?
So all gyms were wiped. There was like nothing going on. And everyone was kind of expecting that. So
yeah, kudos to Niantic.
Yeah, there was no eggs. We were looking at a gym. There was nothing going on at it. 4:00 hit, boom, the Entei would pop with a 3-hour timer, and it was just off to the races. So they definitely did a good job of making sure that the playing field was completely clean for that 4:00 window, which was freaking awesome. Now, I saw some of the gyms. Now, I saw this a couple times on Reddit. A couple people posted about this, and I guess it happened in my area too. But I guess there was a wave of new gyms added to the game in the middle of Entei Day. So, like, people were saying, hey, there's a new gym in the area. It just popped up. Like, it wasn't here at the beginning of the event. And then a 3-hour Entei would pop. So there was Enteis in my area that were going to like 7:57 p.m. And it was like, that's later than any raid would normally go, because there was a brand new gym that happened to pop up in the middle of the evening, which was really bizarre. Cool. So if you guys experienced that, let us know. But I do want to give a shout out to Twitter user. He's from Oslo. His name is Vergard Knutsen, which is the most European name ever. Did 65 Entei raids on foot.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
In the 3 hours. Fucking walk Fu master. 65 raids. So I'll put a link to his tweet when he talks about that.
His
but
biscuits must have been burning.
Yo, that shit is freaking crazy. That is crazy. Like, you have to be in an exceptionally dense, but like, not only that you've got to have a lot of gyms. Oh, so we talked about at the top of the show, it is my birthday today, and Melissa took me into New York City. We did play, got some of that sweet triple XP, and Melissa was able to get her armored Mewtwo. We did a armored Mewtwo raid at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. It was freaking awesome. So awesome. I'm real happy my son was able to get one.
I still don't have one. We can't get a group together to get one because nobody wants it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because it's ugly.
We were able to, it was cool. Like, obviously we're looking around. We didn't necessarily see anyone playing, but the lobbies were just filling up like real quick. So it's New York style, which was really cool. All right. Let's jump over to some miscellaneous news. Last week we did the Armored Mewtwo Raid Guide and Battle Party. At that point, there was no changes to the stats of Mewtwo. We thought it was going to be exactly like the old Mewtwo, just with the armor. But apparently there was a change to the stats. So the attack stat went from 300 down to 182. So Armored Mewtwo is not a good attacker.
Is
at all.
Hold on to one.
Well, it's hard to attack when you have all that shit on you.
And the normal Mewtwo's defense was 182. That's now been bumped up to 278. So this thing is not a good attacker, a better defender, and we all know that legendaries and mythicals are pointless for defenders because you can't put them in gyms. So whatever. It's fashion over function for sure.
Stupid.
Melissa has hatred.
Hatred. Ugly.
No,
it's the strongest
my community,
Pokemon ever.
a lot
What the
of people
fuck does he
don't like
need armor for? Stupid.
All right, real quick, let's jump over for a Go Ranger check-in.
What's up, everybody? It is Go Ranger Matt, and this is the Go Ranger check-in.
All right, we talked about Candela's rewards. They're wrapping up by the time you hear this. Armor Mewtwo is going to be available through July 31st. The research and breakthrough cycle is still going through the end of August, so we got about 48 days left on that from the time of this recording. The Jump Start with Friends bonuses, 49 days from the time of this recording, so take advantage of having the extra balls and extra bonuses, all that good stuff. And then next Sunday, the 21st, is Mudkip Community Day, so be prepared for that, 4 to 7 p.m. local time word is bond. All right, you guys ready for a little battle party?
A what?
A little
battle party. Little battle party.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Little bit.
A little what?
Adam, you want to start it off?
Okay. Battle party.
Whoop, whoop, battle party. Whoop, whoop. You didn't even do it in rhythm,
Yeah, like
and you're
how
the
did
leader.
you like?
You want to try again?
Adam.
No. Oh, by the way, last week, it was so funny. Last week, we did it. It was a freaking mess. And Melissa's like, good luck editing that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll fix it. I didn't edit shit. I left it in there exactly how it was.
It's like battle party.
It was so bad. It was so bad that I just left it. All right, so we're going to talk about Scyther. Scyther is tier 3 raid boss. Very, very easy to solo.
Very easy.
Very easy. So it's one of those ones that you don't see Scyther a lot in the wild, at least not by me. So being a shiny, having the shiny available, I know a lot of people are interested in doing Scyther as a raid boss because they want, the good odds on getting that shiny. So we'll talk about this. Pretty simple solo, 19,014 CP. It is bug and flying type. It's weak to fire, electric, flying, and ice. Double weak to rock. Whenever anything has a double weakness, you know that you just fucking use whatever it's double weak to. 100% catch is going to be 1546, or boosted in rainy or windy weather, 1933. So again, the magic Scyther numbers are 1546 or 1933. The best counters. Now, I've got a little bit of concern here, because Tyranitar with Smackdown Stone Edge is typically the best rock attacker in the game. Now, Rampardos comes around with Smackdown Rock Slide. It has higher DPS than Tyranitar. So when you look at the output, it is better than Tyranitar, but has far less TDO. It's a much weaker glass cannon when it comes to bulk. So
it's like a Gengar.
It's like a Gengar, you know what I mean? Or even like a Mewtwo, where it's going to be putting out a shit ton of output, but it's not going to be able to take a lot of hits. But Rampardos is on top of Pokemon Go Hub's list for best counter against Scyther. Again, Tyranitar, Smackdown Stone Edge, Rhyperior, Smackdown Stone Edge. You could also use Pokemon like Golem, Omastar, Regirock's on the list, Heatran, Rayquaza, Moltres. All these Pokemon are on there. You know what I'm bringing? 6 fucking Tyranitar. Fight me.
Of course you are,
Fight
Ken.
me. Fight me. I dare you.
Of course
I dare you. 6 Tyranitar with Smackdown Stone Edge. Yes, I'm bringing it.
Who are you bringing, Adam?
I'm bringing the newly acquired 100% Entei. Because
Nice.
he's fire, and bugs are weak to fire. I don't care if it's not the best. It's fashion over function. And then 100% Golem, and then I'll be bringing 4 boring Tyranitars.
That do very, very well. Remember, you're trying to solo this thing, so
I
you want to
know,
bring your
but, like,
want to bring your good ones.
I'm pretty sure, too, like my Golem and my Entei can take it.
Probably. What about you,
No,
Melissa?
I'm like almost certain.
I'm going to bring 2 T-Tars and a Rayquaza because I only have one, and 2 Moltres, and fucking Regirock because he's an asshole and no other reason to use him.
She's building the party out. She's like, oh, and Regirock because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's just a
perfect.
pile of...
Bullshit. And I'll never use him, and I'll never use him again. And
just-
I'll be like, all right, at least you had a fucking point for, for
one day.
one time.
Oh, that shit's funny. All right, we do have a voicemail. Let me pull it up really quick.
What's going on? It's Stefan from Missouri. I just recently picked up Pokemon Go again. I know. Why did I ever let it go? I'm sorry. But college will do that to you. And picked it back up. I just recently joined a Facebook page and I found a whole bunch of people, that are just raiding and stuff, which is awesome. And I'm super pumped to be back into the game. But what I called you guys and asked you guys was, what would you give advice-wise for somebody who's getting back into the game in 2019? Because last time I played, it was 2016. So a lot of shit has changed. A lot of stuff is different. I'm still kind of confused on a lot of stuff, like even how to use the lures. I don't even know how to use some of those. So just, I don't know, give me some quick tips and stuff like that for 2019, first-time player, even though I'm not really a first-time player. I'm a level 28, so, like, I'm not a low level, but I'm also definitely not a high level. Thank you, guys. Keep doing the pods, and I love it. Awesome.
Aw, that was nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, Stefan, welcome back. We're glad and happy to have you back. I'd say I really hope that you were able to get at least a few of the Entei raids, and I hope that you remember what a Lucky Egg did and dropped at least one of those during your raiding, and I hope you leveled up. As far as any quick tips, I would just say dive into the YouTube community and just find some creators that you like and kind of go through their backlog and just kind of pick up where you left off, if you will.
All right, look, a lot has changed. So there's really what you really want to worry about here is probably box maintenance and item management. And it's boring as shit, but it's super important, especially when you're trying to dive back into it, because nothing is going to, poke your balls more than, going out to play and your bag is full or your box is full, giggity, because that stuff is a real pain in the ass. So I would focus on, item maintenance, box maintenance, and maximizing leveling up. And, typically level 30 is where things are going to change for the everyday player. And once you hit level 30, you're going to see a spike in the CP of wild Pokemon. And then that's where you're really going to be able to start catching some higher level Pokemon out in the wild. Once you get those higher level Pokemon, you can then use them in your raid scenarios and in your gym scenarios and things like that. So I would put a little bit of a focus. Level 40 is a long way off, man. That's a long grind.
I'm still not fucking 40.
I would worry about getting to level 30. Once you hit level 30, then you could really start picking and choosing who you start powering up and go from there. Really, as far as the lures and things like that, check out Pokemon Go Hub, check out Game Press. There's a lot of resources out there that have very, very detailed info on how this stuff works. So definitely utilize those resources because they make it very, very easy, whether you're into like reading articles, watching videos, or looking at infographics. You have many, many ways that you can kind of digest this information. So definitely utilize all that. Check out Game Press, check out Go Hub, and go from there. But I would say figure out what area of the game you enjoy the most. Do you enjoy the gymming? Do you enjoy raiding? Do you enjoy PvP? Figure that out, latch on to one of those things, and run with that. And then, see where the game takes you. But I would say worry about getting to level 30 because things really change for the player after level 30. What about you, Melissa? Any tips?
I say fuck all that noise and just be a casual fuck and just play the game the way that you enjoy it.
You heard it here first, folks.
Honestly, does it really matter when you get to 40? Unless that's your goal, man.
But that's what I mean.
Unless
find what you like.
Exactly. I agree with Kentown. Find what your little niche is, how you like to play, and then focus your research on how to optimize that gameplay.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many different areas of the game. In 2016, it was like you could catch Pokemon and you could use gyms. That was it. Now there's all these different areas. So find one that tickles your fancy a bit and, focus on that. Then you can move from kind of subgenre to subgenre and figure out which one works. But thanks so much for calling in. We really do appreciate it. But guys, that was a show.
We did it.
We did it.
Happy birthday, Kentown.
Yay, it's my birthday and I think I'm drunk.
Did you see the Geodudes that everybody was tagging you in?
Oh my God,
all those AR pictures?
Bro, I got my own hashtag. All right, huge shout out to the AR community for creating my own hashtag. I'm freaking flattered. Hashtag PROF Ken B-Day. Professor Ken B-Day. Everyone put pictures together of Geodudes for me for my birthday, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
That one's cute too.
I'm absolutely floored. I'm absolutely blown away. Thank you guys so incredibly much for giving me shout outs and wishing me happy birthday. I'm just looking through them here. Dark Type Rises, Pokebo Raycat J. Who else we have here? Pokemon Love 777, Ash Ketchup, Pele Pogo. Thank you guys.
Hey, don't forget me.
Much.
I did an specifically for you.
And Adam Tuttle, thank you. Thank you so much. But I really do appreciate it, man. I'm totally flattered. Thank you guys so much for reaching out, and our patrons. Thank you guys for showing the love in the Discord and everyone on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best. But
well, Ken, you're making a difference.
Am I? I hope so. I'm trying. I hope so.
People are noticing.
All right, good. I feel better about life then. Yay.
Yay.
You guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Check out Hypnotic Milotic. Please. Good dude. Really good dude. He knows his shit. I think he's doing some really cool stuff, bridging the gap between the VGC and Pokemon Go. You can send us an email, info@luredup.com. We have our inappropriate voicemail line or drunk line, or like Stefan gave us a call, 732-835-8639. Check out PokemonProfessor.com for the network. Leave us a review on iTunes. Check out our Patreon. Connect with us on social media. Blabbity, 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 blue. Thank you guys so very much. All right, y'all. We'll see you guys next week. Keep training, trainers. Later.